Hey guys, it's Tiff, and I like to think that I'm an artist. The definition of an artist is someone who participates in any of the various creative skills, and I do participate in many of them. I like to draw, paint, write, make YouTube videos, and all sorts of things. And I'm not saying that I'm the best at these things, or even that I'm even remotely good at these things half the time, but I have been doing them for quite a while, and I like to think that I've gotten better over the years. So I decided to share a few of the tips and tricks that I've learned throughout the years that have made me a better artist personally, and I know have helped some of my friends. Number one is don't worry about other artists and what they're doing. Obviously, it can be helpful to look at what other people are doing just to get an idea of different techniques and styles. But if you're just going to spend all that time focusing on how much better they are and how much more skill and technique that they have that you can't do yet, it's a lot better just to focus on what you can do and practicing at what you can't. Psyching yourself out will not help anybody. Of course, this doesn't mean that you can't appreciate other people's artwork or even acknowledge that they are better at certain sets of skills than you are, but that's really only going to help you if you're using it as a tool to figure out what you can do better and how that's going to happen for you. Otherwise, it's just going to end in a huge cycle of you seeing people who are a lot better because they've been doing this for years and years and years, and you're just going to psych yourself out and not want to do it anymore. It's not worth it. The second tip is to take criticism well, but know when it's constructive criticism and when it's just people being rude. Being able to take criticism for your art is something that's going to help you immensely as you keep going forward. I know especially for me and my friends, we would always point out things that the others could do better, and it always pushed us forward and made us better and better at things that we couldn't do before, or even brought our attention to something that we didn't know we were doing incorrectly. Someone pointing out that your shading is off, or you're using bad grammar in a story, or that your editing is a little iffy. That kind of criticism could seriously help you, and I really recommend you listening to that and taking that into account as you go forward. But it is important to be able to distinguish that from the not so useful comments, typically about the subject matter or what you look like, or just stupid random stuff that isn't gonna help you moving forward. If someone's commenting on stuff like that, they probably just had a bad day or are just jerks. But as important as it is to keep in mind the comments and criticisms that will help you moving forward, it's probably equally as important to just disregard the ones that will not help you. It's very easy to get caught up in what other people say, especially if they attack something personal to you, but honestly, it's just not worth it. And if you listen to the wrong comments, it will just hurt you and your art moving forward. So it's important to be able to just make that distinction. Number 3 is something that I actually spoke about last week, and it's basically not to get overwhelmed by what you're doing. It's very important for you to take breaks, and it's important to take time to yourself without having to be creative all the time, because no one can handle that. This is especially important if what you do for a living or are attempting to do for a living, because it's going to be very easy to burn out if you constantly are trying to keep going. I go more in depth on this in my last video where I talk about me going into creative burnout the week before. It is also very important to recognize that whatever type of art you're doing, it's going to involve a lot of technique. I know it's very easy to get caught up in the fact that art is subjective and there's no real rules to it. There's still going to be a whole lot that you do really need to learn. Whether it's learning editing software, learning grammar rules, or how to draw basic shapes, there's going to be technique that you're going to have to learn. If you don't recognize that you have to learn it and there's going to be a lot to learn, then chances are you're not going to get very good at what you want to do. Of course, there's always that chance that you'll be able to make it up as you go along and you'll be fine, but that's a very slim, very unlikely chance. And even if you can get by just making it up, I really do recommend learning the technique anyway. My next tip is to work with what you have. I never really understood why new artists say that they can't do something because they don't have the newest or most expensive equipment. A lot of my friends are artists, and the majority of their work was done on spiral notebooks with a ballpoint pen they found at the bottom of their bag, and they are amazing artists. And if I waited until I could afford the $500 camera, I would not be doing what I'm doing right now. Instead, I am sitting here with my computer's webcam stacked up on a bunch of books and stuff as a tripod and editing on free software. And I could not be more glad that I've done this. And working with limited supply can also make you more creative because you have to work within the confines that you have. And honestly, it makes you just a little bit prouder of what you accomplish in the end, from my personal experience. Obviously, I'm going to upgrade my camera when I can afford it, and my friends upgraded to Canvas and sketchbooks when they got the chance. I'm not saying that you never upgrade, I'm just saying that if all you have right now is a piece of paper and a ballpoint pen, make it work for you. Or if you just have a web camera and Windows Movie Maker or whatever free software is already installed on your computer, it doesn't matter. Actually making the thing, actually being creative and putting hard work into what you're doing makes it so worth it in the end. Even more so if you knew that you did everything you can with what you have and it turned out great anyway. Tip number this one is just to enjoy what you're doing. You're obviously doing it for a reason. Most of the creative hobbies aren't exactly the easiest things to do. They take a lot of skill, a lot of preparation, a lot of work. Keep in mind why you're doing this. You enjoy doing what you're doing. Even when you want to tear your equipment in half because it's difficult and you're tired and nothing's working, it'll keep you sane in the end. Somehow, keep in mind that you actually enjoy doing this thing that you hate. And my last tip is just to keep doing it. It's going to get difficult sometimes. It just is. And if you're willing to stick it out and actually keep practicing, do something new with what you love every day, then you will get better, you will learn more, and it will be worth it. Even when at times it seems like there's no way that this could go anywhere, just keep doing it. That is the most important thing that I could tell you at this moment. If you take nothing else from this, take away the fact that you should keep doing what you're doing. And eventually it will work out in the end, I promise. That's all I got for you today. If you like this video and you want to see more of this lovely face, you should hit the subscribe button. It's somewhere, I think it's around here right now, probably. If not, then it's also a bright red bar down there. And while you're subscribing, you might as well turn on notifications so you know when I upload next, because I don't know when I'm going to be uploading next. If you want to see my last video, you can check it out here, and if you want to check out more videos like this, you can check them out here. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. Bye! If you're in literature, then there's a whole shit, I can't swear on this channel. Demonetized.